Are we finally looking at the crossover event of the century? I mean, the new season. I'm talking about a full-blown alliance between Skinwalker Ranch and Blind Frog Ranch. It sounds wild, but this new theory suggests it isn't just possible, it's inevitable. You need to stop looking at the fences. Seriously, stop thinking about Skinwalker and Blind Frog as two separate mysteries. Dr. Travis Taylor might have just handed us the skeleton key to the entire Uinta Basin, and honestly, it's terrifyingly simple. The new theory isn't about ghosts, and it's not about aliens. It's about geology as a machine. Think about it. What if Skinwalker Ranch is just the antenna broadcasting the signal, but the battery powering it is buried 20 miles away at Blind Frog? If this holds up, we aren't investigating a haunting anymore. We are standing on top of a dormant, macro-scale circuit, and we just started turning the knobs. But first, we have to address the elephant in the room. There is a lot of noise online right now, rumors flying around that Dr. Travis Taylor is leaving the ranch. Some sources seem absolutely convinced he's done, but let's be real for a second. Have you seen this guy work? I don't think Travis is the kind of man to walk away when the puzzle is only half solved. He doesn't leave things in the middle. With a discovery like this on the horizon, I am willing to bet he is going to stick around to see it through. Report: the Uinta Basin Macrocircuit Theory. First introduction: the two-to-front war. For years, we've looked at the Uinta Basin like a puzzle with the pieces scattered all over the table. Over here, you've got the heavy hitter Skinwalker Ranch. That's the celebrity of the paranormal world, the aerial lights, the dire wolves, the dino beavers, and that 1.6 gigahertz signal that never seems to quit. Then, just 20 miles down the road, you have the darker, heavier mystery, Blind Frog Ranch. That place is all about what's underground: submerged caverns, weird metals, and radiant energy. We always treated them like two different stories, right? Two different TV shows, two different teams, separated by miles of dirt. But Dr. Travis Taylor is flipping that script. He's started cross-referencing the data between the two sites, and what he's finding is blowing the old isolated hotspot theory out of the water. It looks like we aren't dealing with two separate haunted houses at all. The data suggests the entire basin is actually one single, massive, entangled system. Second, the evidence, why the connection exists. The theory relies on three distinct pillars of data that bridge the gap between the Taylor team, Skinwalker, and the Olinger team, Blind Frog. 1. The synchronization, the 1.6 GHz heartbeat. The first pillar of this theory rests on the now infamous 1.6 gigahertz signal. For years, the team at Skinwalker Ranch has documented this specific frequency appearing seemingly out of nowhere, often directly preceding major anomalies like UAP sightings or catastrophic equipment failures. Dr. Travis Taylor has famously dubbed it the calling card of the phenomenon, a warning shot before the high strangeness begins. But why 1.6 GHz? To the uninitiated, it's just a number. But in the world of conventional physics, this frequency sits squarely in the L-band, a range typically reserved for GPS and satellite communications. It is the language of orbit. But here's the kicker: the signal at the ranch doesn't behave like a satellite. A GPS signal is a whisper, faint background noise. The signal hitting Dr. Taylor's spectrum analyzers is often millions of times stronger, screaming over the noise floor. And even more disturbing, it often appears to originate from the ground or directly from within the mesa, rather than from the sky. It's not coming down to us, it's coming out at us. Here is where the new theory takes a terrifying turn: simultaneity. Recent field reports and cross-referencing between the two ranch teams suggest that this signal is not local, it is entangled. We're talking about instances where the Skinwalker team fires a rocket, triggering a massive 1.6 GHz spike. At that exact millisecond, 20 miles away at Blind Frog Ranch, divers in the submerged caverns report their comms going down, or the heavy dredging equipment suddenly shutting off. If this were a standard radio wave traveling from Skinwalker to Blind Frog, there would be a measurable delay, a travel time. But the data implies the reaction is instantaneous. In physics, this suggests quantum entanglement, Einstein's spooky action at a distance. It implies that the particles at Skinwalker and the particles at Blind Frog are part of the same quantum system. Distance doesn't matter to them. Poke one and the other bleeds. Dr. Taylor has hypothesized that the 1.6 GHz signal acts less like a radio broadcast and more like a control signal or a handshake protocol for a computer network. When the signal broadcasts, it isn't just noise, it's a command string. Think about what that actually means. If this is a handshake, then the Uinta Basin is essentially a secured network. When Skinwalker broadcasts that command, the machinery at Blind Frog, the battery, wakes up instantly to verify the connection. We aren't dealing with two haunted houses, we are dealing with two components on the same motherboard. And the most chilling question isn't what is the signal. The question is, what happens if we figure out how to fake the handshake? If we transmit that code back, do we gain admin access to the machine, or do we trip the security system? 2. The Iridium anomaly, the subterranean nervous system. The second pillar of this theory forces us to stop staring at the clouds and start looking beneath our boots. While the cameras at Skinwalker Ranch are obsessively pointed at the sky waiting for UFOs, the answer to why they are here might actually lie deep in the mud over at Blind Frog Ranch. Dwayne Olinger's team has spent years digging into the ground, and they've consistently found evidence of an ancient massive impact site. But it's not just about a hole in the ground, it's about what they found inside it, Iridium. To understand why this matters, you have to understand the element itself. Iridium is incredibly rare on Earth, like rarer than gold rare. But do you know where it's common? Asteroids, meteors, deep space. Finding high concentrations of iridium suggests that eons ago, something massive from the stars didn't just land in the Uinta Basin, it slammed into it and shattered. But here is the key. It didn't just disappear, it embedded itself. The new theory posits that this impact created a conductive geological spine running beneath the entire basin. Geology does not respect property lines. We like to draw fences on a map. We say, this side is Skinwalker, and that side is Blind Frog, but the Earth doesn't care about our deeds and titles. Nature ignores our borders. If a massive conductive ore body, rich in gold, silver, and that alien iridium, runs beneath the basin, it acts effectively as a subterranean wire. We aren't talking about a few scattered nuggets here. We're talking about a continuous mineralized vein that could stretch for 20 miles or more. Think of it like a buried cable. You have two properties that look separate on the surface, but underground, they are physically hardwired together by a spine of conductive space metal. This explains why the phenomena are so contained. The energy isn't just floating around in the air, it's traveling through the ground, riding this conductive superhighway from the caverns of Blind Frog straight to the mesa at Skinwalker. 3. The Earthwire effect. The basin as a motherboard. To truly understand why this high strangeness is trapped within this specific geography, we have to stop looking at the Uinta Basin as a passive landscape. We need to start viewing it as a component. If you were to peel back the topsoil and look at the geological strata with an engineer's eye, the layers underneath don't look like a layer cake. They look like a giant, complex motherboard. Think about a printed circuit board in your computer. The green plastic board itself does nothing, it's just an insulator. It's the copper traces, those intricate gold lines etched into the surface, that do the work. They dictate exactly where the electricity flows and how the system functions. In the Uinta Basin, nature has built its own circuit board. The sandstone and shale, that's your green plastic insulator. But slicing through that dead rock are those massive veins of iridium and gold we just talked about. These are nature's copper traces. Gold and iridium are among the most conductive materials in the known universe. If a massive ancient impact shattered these metals into the crust as the theory suggests, they create a superhighway for electromagnetic energy. Energy that would normally just dissipate harmlessly into the earth is instead channeled and focused. It is forced to travel along these specific metal veins, maintaining its coherence and voltage over massive distances. This perfectly explains those baffling dead zones investigators find, where 1 meter gives you a radiation spike and the next meter is dead silent. You are either standing on the wire, or you aren't. But a circuit board is useless without a power source, and this is where the hydrology of the basin becomes the critical factor. Both Skinwalker and Blind Frog are defined by their complex, moving water tables. But we aren't talking about pure mountain spring water here. This is mineral-heavy, brine-rich fluid. In the world of chemistry, water mixed with dissolved minerals is an electrolyte, the exact same volatile chemical medium found inside a car battery that allows ions to move and create electricity. The galvanic cell theory. When you combine a massive conductive metal strip, the iridium, with this flowing mineral-rich water, the electrolyte, you have effectively created a naturally occurring galvanic cell. The movement of this electrolytic water rubbing across the conductive iridium veins creates a constant charge, a triboelectric effect on a massive geological scale. The basin isn't just conducting energy, it is generating it. When Dr. Taylor sees a massive spike on his spectrum analyzer, he isn't just picking up a radio wave from deep space. He is picking up the system voltage of a living, breathing circuit. And here is the scary part. The system is dynamic. The reason the phenomena are so unpredictable, why the ghosts seem to come and go, is that the water table is constantly shifting. A heavy rain, a drought, or even the moon's pull on the groundwater changes the flow of the electrolyte. The current beneath our feet is constantly fluctuating, meaning the machine is always throttling up and down, and we have no way to predict when it's going to redline. 4. the machine, antenna versus capacitor. This brings us to the grand unification of the theory, the moment where all the disparate pieces click together. If the geology provides the wire and the water provides the current, we have to ask, what is the machine actually doing? Dr. Travis Taylor's background isn't in ghost hunting, it's in optical physics and aerospace engineering. He looks at the world through the lens of cause and effect, input and output. And when you apply that engineering mindset to the Uinta Basin, the new theory proposes that you cannot understand one ranch without the other, because they are two ends of the same device, the capacitor and the antenna. Blind Frog Ranch is the capacitor, the battery. In electrical engineering, a capacitor is a component designed to store energy. It's a pressure vessel for electricity. Blind Frog Ranch fits this description to a T. It is defined by its enclosed subterranean spaces, deep submerged cavern systems, pressurized water pockets, and heavy dense ore deposits wrapped in insulating rock. The energy at Blind Frog feels different than Skinwalker. It feels heavy, dormant, and brooding. Why? Because it is potential energy. It is a massive storage unit, holding a geological charge deep underground, waiting for a trigger. It is the fuel tank of the Uinta Basin, sitting silent, dark, and pressurized. Skinwalker Ranch is the transducer, the antenna. Now travel 20 miles west. While Blind Frog is defined by what is buried, Skinwalker is defined by what is airborne. The phenomena here are almost exclusively outward-facing. Lights in the sky, signals in the air, and portals opening above the mesa. This is the kinetic energy of the system, the point of discharge. Think about how a radio tower works. An antenna does not generate its own power, it transmits energy that is fed into it from a power source. The new theory suggests that the wormholes, the orbs, and the high strangeness at Skinwalker aren't the source of the anomaly. They are the exhaust ports. They are simply the release valve for the energy being siphoned from the capacitor at Blind Frog. The closed-loop system, this implies that the Uinta Basin functions as a single massive piece of technology, or natural geology acting so precisely that it is indistinguishable from technology. Here is the terrifying implication. When Dwayne Olinger's team at Blind Frog dredges a cavern, they aren't just moving dirt, they are stirring the battery acid. They are fluctuating the power source. That fluctuation travels instantly along the underground Iridium wire, the Earthwire we talked about, and discharges at the point of least resistance, the antenna at Skinwalker Ranch. We have been looking at random, isolated events of high strangeness for decades. But if this theory holds, we are actually looking at a closed-loop system where one side provides the fuel and the other side provides the fireworks. We have spent 50 years investigating the light bulb Skinwalker, completely ignoring the nuclear power plant Blind Frog down the road that's keeping it lit. 5. The path of least resistance, Hitchhiker directionality. This geological connection also offers a startlingly scientific framework for the single most terrifying aspect of this entire phenomenon, the Hitchhiker effect. If you follow the lore, you know what this is. For years, investigators, tough, rational people, have reported paranormal activity following them home after leaving the basin. We're talking about poltergeist activity, sudden autoimmune health issues, and shadow figures appearing in their living rooms hundreds of miles away. In the past, we viewed this through a supernatural lens. We thought of it as a curse or an intelligent spiritual parasite attaching itself to a person. It feels personal, it feels targeted. But if we apply the macrocircuit theory, the Hitchhiker effect stops looking like a curse and starts looking like electrical discharge. In the world of high-voltage engineering, current does not move randomly. It relentlessly follows the path of least resistance. Think about the Uinta Basin as a massive, overcharged capacitor. It is bursting with energy that is constantly seeking a ground. When investigators leave the ranch, they don't just teleport away, they drive. They travel along specific highways and interstates. Here is the geological reality check. Modern roads are often built through valleys and flatlands to avoid mountains. These are the exact same geographical routes that mirror ancient underground water tables and mineral veins. The theory posits that the energy isn't following the person in a conscious, malicious sense. It's simple physics. The person is moving parallel to a conductive underground vein that is leaking excess charge from the basin's main battery. This reframes the spooky action at a distance into a problem of conductivity. The hitchhiker isn't a ghost haunting a specific individual. It is a surge of energy traveling along a geological wire, and the investigator just happens to be the conductor moving along that same circuit. You become the copper wire. The energy travels with you, riding that conductive path until it finds a place to discharge or ground itself. Unfortunately, that ground is often the investigator's home, a neutral environment where that pent-up energy can finally release. This suggests that the entire region acts as an active energy grid. The terrifying experiences reported by visitors aren't punishments, they are the result of stepping onto a live wire and dragging that massive static charge back home with them. You aren't being haunted, you're being shocked. Third, the hypothesis. 4, the machine, antenna versus capacitor. This brings us to the core of the hypothesis, the functional metaphor. Dr. Travis Taylor's background isn't in ghost stories, it's in optical physics and aerospace engineering. When he looks at a map, he doesn't see haunted ground. He sees a schematic. He invites us to look at the land not as magical, but as functional. To an engineer, a landscape isn't just scenery, it is a collection of variables, conductivity, density, and resonance. When you apply this engineering mindset to the data, the new theory breaks down into a stark electrical analogy that redefines the relationship between the two properties. Blind Frog Ranch is the capacitor, the battery. In electrical engineering, a capacitor is a component designed to store energy in an electric field. It is often characterized by layers of conductive material separated by insulators. Blind Frog fits this description perfectly. It is defined by its enclosed subterranean spaces, deep submerged cavern systems, pressurized water pockets, and heavy, dense ore deposits wrapped in insulating rock. But where does the charge come from? The geology here is dense, pressurized, and potentially piezoelectric. The science, piezoelectricity, is the electric charge that accumulates in certain solid materials, like quartz crystals, in response to applied mechanical stress. The reality, the immense weight of the Uinta Mountains crushing down on the quartz-rich rock at Blind Frog, is literally squeezing electricity out of the stone. Blind Frog acts as the storage unit for the basin's energy. It holds the charge. The energy here feels heavy, dormant, and brooding because it is potential energy. A massive storage unit sitting silent and pressurized, waiting for a trigger. Skinwalker Ranch is the transducer, the antenna. 20 miles away, the vibe changes completely. While Blind Frog is defined by what is buried and static, Skinwalker is defined by what is airborne and active. The phenomena here are almost exclusively outward-facing. Lights in the sky, signals in the air, and portals opening above the mesa. This is the kinetic energy of the system. An antenna does not generate its own power, it merely transmits energy that is fed into it. The new theory suggests that the wormhole phenomena, the 1.6 GHz spikes, and the aerial lights at Skinwalker are simply the discharge of the energy stored elsewhere in the basin. The triangle area at Skinwalker isn't a generator, it's a focusing lens, the tip of the lightning rod where the energy finally breaks free. The closed-loop system, this implies that the Uinta Basin functions as a single massive piece of technology or natural geology acting indistinguishably from technology. When the team at Blind Frog dredges a cavern, they aren't just moving dirt, they are disturbing the battery acid. They are fluctuating the power source. That fluctuation travels along the underground Iridium wire and discharges at the point of least resistance, the antenna at Skinwalker Ranch. We are no longer looking at random isolated events of high strangeness. We are looking at a closed-loop system where one side provides the fuel and the other side provides the fireworks, and we have been investigating the light bulb while ignoring the power plant down the road. The danger of synchronization. If this macrocircuit theory holds water, the implications for every future investigation in the Uinta Basin are critical and, frankly, dangerous. It fundamentally changes the rules of engagement. For years, the team at Blind Frog Ranch has been drilling, dredging, and excavating in isolation, believing they were simply hunting for lost Aztec gold or meteorites. But under this new model, we have to face a terrifying reality. Every time they pierce the ground or drain a cavern, they might be unknowingly depressing the plunger on a detonator connected directly to Skinwalker Ranch. It suggests that digging at Blind Frog isn't just a local operation, it is directly fueling the kinetic activity 20 miles away. We might be watching a cause and effect loop where the battery is being agitated, sending surges of raw power to the antenna. The result? Those chaotic spikes of radiation and UAP activity that Dr. Taylor is trying to measure over at the triangle. We aren't seeing random phenomena, we are seeing the system reaction to our own interference. This forces a paradigm shift. We are no longer looking at random high strangeness or isolated hauntings. We are looking at a mechanism. The seemingly chaotic events, the cattle mutilations, the orbs, the transient radiation burns, stop appearing as random glitches in reality and start looking like the operating functions of a massive subterranean system. We have moved past the phase of ghost hunting and entered the phase of reverse engineering. The question is no longer what are these lights, or are ghosts real? The question has graduated to something far more terrifying: who built the machine? Whether this circuit is a fluke of natural geology, a coincidental arrangement of conductive metals and water, or an artificial construct buried eons ago by a non-human intelligence, the risk remains the same. We are poking at the controls of a device we do not understand. And the ultimate question haunting the basin is this: what happens if we accidentally synchronize the battery with the antenna? What happens if the frequency matches perfectly, the circuit closes completely, and the machine doesn't sputter? but fully turns on. So, I turn the question over to you. Is the Uinta Basin just a geological freak of nature, a lucky roll of the cosmic dice where gold, iridium, and water created a natural battery? Or are we looking at something intelligent? Did someone or something build this circuit on purpose? Let me know your theory in the comments below. Do you think digging at Blind Frog is causing the portals at Skinwalker? And more importantly, if Dr. Travis Taylor is right, should they stop digging before they wake this thing up completely? If you enjoyed this deep dive into the physics of the paranormal, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We act as the signal, you act as the battery. Let's keep this investigation powered up. And if you want to know more about the specific 1.6 gigahertz signal and why the government seems so afraid of it, check out this video right here. I'll see you on the other side.